Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about using multiple operating systems in one computer device. So let's assume you're using a Microsoft Windows 10 as your host machine, and you want to use another operating system such as a Linux distribution like Ubuntu or Kali Linux. In some scenario, you might want to have another PC, and there you can install that Linux distro there as a host also. Or you can use a dual boot on this same PC. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to use this Linux distro on this your host machine over here using what we call the VMware. So we're going to use the VMware software. It's a virtualization technology capable of creating a virtual machine on our computer. So basically, it can allow you to run multiple operating systems on your host machine. So you can have a Linux distribution running in this your host machine without affecting the host, which is the Microsoft Windows 10. And even if you're on a Linux distro as your host machine, you can also install a Windows operating system as a virtual machine using this VMware. So VMware allows us to run multiple operating systems on our host machine without affecting our host machine. So in this video, I will be using the Windows 10, the Microsoft Windows 10 as my host machine. I'm going to install a Linux distribution. The distro I'm going to be installing is Kali Linux. So I will install it as a virtual machine. Don't worry if you're using a Linux distro as your host machine. I'm also going to show you how to install this VMware and install another operating system in it. So let's dive in and see how to do it. So this is a preview of what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. So as you can see over here, I have my Windows computer as the host machine, and inside the VMware I have the Linux distro running, and we are running Kali Linux on the VMware. So it's running as a virtual machine. So as you can see, this allows us to use multiple operating systems in one single computer device. If I can navigate over to the files, and you can see it's running normally. You can go to your documents, and you can also use the terminal to run your Linux commands, and you can see everything there. So you can see the now you see we have the desktop document, so you can just use your Linux distro normally on this VMware without affecting your host machine. So I can just minimize this and just run my host machine normally, or you can just switch into your VMware and run whatever OS you want to run. You can also maximize this, and you see, cool. Now we've seen a preview. Now let's go ahead and install Kali Linux as a virtual machine on VMware. So the first thing I want you to do is head over to your browser and go to getkali.org, and here you're going to see the installer images and the virtual machines. So go to the virtual machines, click on this, and you can see if you're using a 64 bits or a 32 bits, you can just switch. So, and you can see different virtualization technology, VirtualBox, Hyper-V, and others. So we're going to be installing this for VMware. So let's download for VMware. So hit the download, and this is going to install the Kali Linux virtual machine image on your computer device. As you can see, the download just started, so give it a while to download and head over to install. Now when the download is done, head over to your download folder, and you're going to see the Kali Linux virtual machine image, and you can see it ends with this extension .7z. So we're going to install that software in order to extract the file to reveal its contents. So just head over to your browser once again and go to 7zip.org, and here you can see different versions of this software. So you can download for 64 bits and 32 bits. So I'm just gonna go for this first one over here. Just hit on the download, and this is gonna download the software for you. Then we can head over to install. So now we have the file now on our download. So all you have to do is to double click in order to install this program. So I'll go ahead and put my password. And you can click on install. You can see the destination folder. You can click on install, and it says installed. So close this. Now head over to your Kali image and right click it. You can see 7-zip. So just go to extract here. So click on extract here to reveal the files in this .7z extension. So we are done extracting this, and you can see there is a new folder here in our downloads, and this contains every file necessary to boot up this Linux distro on our virtual machine. So we have this image ready. The next is to install virtualization technology. So we're going to be using VMware. So head over to your download again. So go to the VMware site, vmware.com, and there you're going to see the VMware workstation player. So scroll down, you can see for Windows, and you can also see for Linux. So since you are running this on a Windows device, we're going to click on Windows, click on download now, and this is going to download VMware workstation player for you, and then we can go over to the setup wizard to install it. So you can see download there. So give it a while to download before we can set it up. The download is done, and you can see the VMware setup file here. So we are going to double click on it to set this up on our PC. Now you can see the VMware setup wizard. So let's follow the process to set this up on our computer. So click on next, and now you can see the license agreement. So you can read through and click on I accept the terms in the license agreement. After this, click on next. Then you're gonna see the destination folder where it's gonna install this VMware, and you can also see this checkbox. So I'm gonna leave everything as a default, but you can also do the manual changes here. So I'm gonna click on next. Next. So here it says create a shortcut for VMware workstation. So this is gonna create a shortcut for the application on our desktop. So let's click on next, and then you can now click on install to install VMware. Give it a while to properly install VMware on your computer. Now you can see the setup is complete, and we can now click on finish. So now we have VMware as a shortcut on our desktop. So all we have to do now is to double click this to open up the VMware workstation player. Now you can see we have this VMware workstation player open up now. So all we have to do now is to install Kali Linux here as a virtual machine. So go over here to open a virtual machine, click on it, and now you can see this Kali Linux file here. So click on it and open. And you can now see we just have that virtual machine over here. So we can go ahead and edit the machine settings. So click on edit virtual machine setting. And now the first is the memory. So it's taking up 2 GB of RAM. It's okay for me, but if you want to increase or decrease it, you can just scroll down or go up depending on what you want. But I'm going to leave it here as a default. So the processor 2 GB, the hard disk is 80 GB, and also the network adapter over here is connected to the NAT network. So it's going to use my host machine's internet connection. So next you can go over to the options, and here we don't necessarily need to add or make any changes here, but you can see it detected our operating system and it says it's Linux Debian 10 times 64 bits. So let's click on OK to apply these changes, and now we can go ahead and play our virtual machine. You can click it here, you can just click on play. So play, and this is gonna boot up the Kali Linux for us. And here the booting is done, so we can go ahead and log into our Kali Linux operating system. So the default username and password is Kali. So you can see that from the official documentation on their website. So I'm going to enter the password, hit enter. And now, as you can see, we have this new operating system running on our VMware as a virtual machine. So you can go ahead and use this normally. So let's go to home. As you can see, we have our folders and our files all set up in this operating system. So you can just use the graphical interface of this Linux distribution, or you can just go for the terminal. So you can do an ls, and you can see we have all these things over here, the desktop documents, we have all these things over here. So you can prefer to use the terminal or the graphical user interface. So we can just cd into desktop, and when we do an ls, you can see there is nothing in there. Just as you can see here, there's nothing in there. So we can also navigate to the file system, and here you can see both the configuration files and the bootloader and every stuff's here. So this we can run a Linux distribution or any other operating system as a virtual machine without affecting our host machine. So as you can see, I can still go to my host machine, and you can see we have all these files we installed. I can use it as I do as always normally, but you can also switch on to your VMware and use your Linux distribution or whatever operating system you just installed there. So this is a tutorial to show you how to use two or more operating system on a single computer device. So you can go ahead. If you want to shut this down, you can see the options here, shut down, and also let's cancel this. You can see this is, it says Ethernet network connection. So we set up this to use the NAT network. So whatever internet connection my host machine has is also going to have it. So this is necessary in the configuring the settings section. So you can also go ahead to power off this virtual machine. You can do this using the graphical user interface, or you can just come to the terminal and power off. Hit enter. And now you can use your Windows computer properly, and whenever you want to use your Linux distribution, you can always go to your VMware workstation player and then play that operating system. Something else, we can also rename this virtual machine, so we can just set the name to Kali or whatever name you want to set it to. So we can just set it to tech or any name, but let's leave it as Kali Linux. Hit enter, and this is gonna save the name, so you can always play up your virtual machine. So I hope you got every bit of this tutorial. So if you are using a Windows machine, this is how to install a virtual machine using the VMware technology on your computer. Then in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do this. If you're a Linux user, I'm going to show you how to install VMware on Linux and install an operating system such as Windows or Kali Linux on that virtual machine or that virtual environment. If this video was helpful, you can hit the subscribe button, like and share for others to see this amazing video.